Hey, what's up, everyone? Listen, I'm going to give you just a brief overview of the, the financial piece of the event that I went to in Whistler this past week. And even though it was very painful for me to go through some of the presentations, I think it makes me really excited about what we know that often we take for granted. So first off, let me just recap what the group is, and I did like a three-part like YouTube series that I'll send the links to that recaps each day. But this group, it's a really high level group. I mean, I was first exposed to it way back in 2010. After during the Real Estate Guys cruise, the first one that I went on, as well as them inviting me down to their development in Belize. I met the actual head developer down there, whose name is Dave Mitchell, and Dave had he had developed huge amounts of land in the Caribbean. But I remember having lunch with him right before I left, and he raved about this platinum group, Tony Robbins group, and he was a part of it for a couple of years. And so that's where I first heard about it. Then I went to a few events, and yeah, it was one of those, things where it just kind of led up. I went to another one. So first one was 2015 with John Stewart, the business course, and then one in 2016, which was one of the main events that actually Leslie went to as well. Same one in Dallas, Texas, and then his kind of like flagship, which is a 7-day long one in Florida during December. That's where I went this past December and decided to sign up for this group. Because I just had a great experience there. But listen, it's one of those things where, I didn't know what to expect. These are really high level people. There's about 300 of them total. And, not all of them go to the unique events that are just for this group, but most of them come to the finance one. And so there was a lot of people there. It was about a little over 300. And 75% of it was amazing. Some high-level speakers. Ray Dalio, I was really impressed by him. There's a few others as well. But there was one day that was purely dedicated to financial strategy, and this is where things started to get sideways. What was also cool is that I met a couple. He's the number 2 kind of comprehensive financial advisor at Northwestern Mutual, and has huge affinity for whole life. Obviously, he does securities and money management, but still is great to have some paralleled views on things. And so this is where there was some investment strategy that went up, and some of the claims that were made by Tony, whether it's how average returns work. If you lose 25% in one year, you actually have to have 50% to make it up. There's a lot of things that were said that were accurate, but the actual strategies themselves that they were recommending, right, just totally went against that. And so one example was the investment advisor, financial planner that does Tony Robbins' portfolio. His name's AJ Gupta. And some of the stuff he was saying was just completely, inaccurate. First off, the idea of a fiduciary is really interesting, because they touted that just because you have a Series 65 and a registered investment advisor license, that you're a fiduciary. And what they define that as far as I could tell, right, is that they weren't exclusive to a specific family of funds. They had access to all the family of funds. But again, it's one of those, like, given the things that we're talking about regarding the market and market cycles, they went against, they talked through just, modern portfolio theory and just general portfolio allocations. And it was just like, it was interesting, right? And then the fees they have are, less in a sense. But regardless, it was really interesting that they had just a typical financial advisor there talking about just typical financial planning. But the one I wanted to spend just a moment on is the point, the thing that they taught was a presentation about PPLI. So PPLI is private placement life insurance, and there's a couple chapters in Tony's book, Money Master the Game, that's dedicated to this. I also have a few books on it. But basically, PPLI is essentially a direct, to the insurance company universal life policy with very low fees. And then it has essentially, it's a VUL. So you put securities and assets inside of it. And the claims that this guy was making, and he was an attorney, and I think he was an attorney and wrote about certain law, but he was still an insurance guy. And he was really slamming retail life insurance because of all the commissions that are made and because of not doing the right thing, not being a fiduciary. And so if you guys recall in the book, my book, I went through and did an analysis of the commissions of just a policy with the fees associated with the portfolio. And I, as you reverse engineer it, the fees of just all-in commissions for a policy over the course of a 30-year period of time, even including renewals, is about 0.13%. And then you look at the 0.85% that they charge on assets under management, as well as different loads associated with the securities, commission loads, and so forth. Right, it is way more expensive. And so, but yet they were, making claims that insurance companies make all of this, or insurance brokers, retail insurance people make all of this money. And it was very, left a pit in my stomach because people were really excited about it. Excited because of the tax-free growth, excited for the asset protection. Like it was incredible to see that. Even though it was sold with a lot of missing pieces. So there's two things I want you to think about, especially the wealth strategists. We have the ability to know because of objective calculation what the truth is, and how we approach that is important. And you guys are learning ways in which we can strategically approach that with Marv. But the idea in the end is, I sat back, and even though I was frustrated and had some, kind of a pit in my stomach a few times, I realized just how blessed I am to know what I know, and not just an opinion, but actually understanding the math behind it, which very few people know. The math is never going to convince somebody. Just as you saw here, the math isn't what convinced these guys to think that PPLI was the best thing out there from a financial perspective. It wasn't that, right? It was, what they thought about it, the different benefits that were highlighted, how it was presented. And obviously there's missing pieces behind that. So it's awesome to know that, we're learning how to communicate, but we're also confident because we have the ability to know that what we're doing is the best thing for people. So anyway, I won't go much more into detail there. I'm gonna probably print out some of the workbook so you guys can see different elements, which I think some of them are, some of it is awesome. Like I said, 75% of this, the event was incredible, and it totally helps to show how small I'm playing, and how how successful people are doing certain things when it comes to their business. And we have an awesome team. We have some awesome opportunities. And so I'm really excited to pursue those. The 25% that, was inaccurate, I communicated that with my feedback form. And I'm also, communicating with Josh Robbins, who's Tony's son, that I know just in the professional environment, and just to see the best way to approach some of these issues that I have, and see if there's anything that can be done there. But anyway, I just want to let you guys know that it was an awesome event, and I'm sure there's going to be some amazing things that come from it. Yeah, it just reinforces what we have at our fingertips and what we are able to communicate to our clients. So with that being said, hope you guys have an awesome day. Thanks.